Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Tuckered Mama podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Collins. I'm a mom of two. I live right here in Tucker, Georgia, and this is my podcast. I started this podcast to share with you local family fun events and activities that are going on in our area. I figured that the northeast part of Atlanta doesn't really have that much social media presence. So I wanted to find a space that I could share through Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and this platform right here on my podcast, local things to do with kids that are not that far of a drive away, because a lot of activities and things you see online, it might be over an hour-long drive. So this is all things you can do right here, because fun is literally just down the street, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And then like the max I'm reaching is maybe a 30-minute drive. So welcome to the podcast. And if you missed last week's episode, I talked with Jessica Grace, a very dear friend of mine, about her newborn photography business. That was my very first mom spotlight episode. So if you missed that, after this one, please go back and check that out. Get to know her, get to know the heart behind the lens and why she started her business. She's a local mom who lives in Lilburn, and I just can't tell you enough how great that conversation was to get to know her. You can also check out some of my other episodes where I have real, meaningful, honest mom conversations with some of my friends about different things. I had a pregnancy episode, actually 2 episodes because it was so long, but I sat down with a friend of mine who's in her 3rd pregnancy right now, and just, having these honest conversations, relatable things, that's the whole reason why I started this podcast. So I just wanted to start something that really resonates with you guys, and hopefully, you find out something new you didn't know about Tucker or Lilburn. I'm trying to stick to like 5 main local areas, like Tucker, of course, because I live here. Lilburn is right next to us. Snellville's not too far. Then you've got Stone Mountain and Decatur. And then my husband works downtown in Atlanta, so we are down there quite a bit, but we are on the northeast side. So a little bit about the podcast. There you go. Now let's dive into today's episode. Today's episode is all about Atlanta Botanical Gardens. I wanted to circle back. We've had a lot of mom conversations lately, so I wanted to circle back with you about a really fun family-friendly activity that you can do, which is the Atlanta Botanical Gardens. Now it's about 25 minutes from my house, so it's not too far and it's totally worth it. You can totally make a whole day out of it, or you can be like me and get the membership. We'll talk all about this, but if you get the membership, it doesn't feel like you're, so crunched for time, because sometimes when you pay for just like a 1-day pass, you just are trying to fit everything into that one day because you're only there for that one day. The membership gives you that flexibility to be like, oh, we didn't check out that section this time. We'll come back another day because we've got the membership. We'll just come back another day and we'll hit that section first, maybe, because it is pretty big. They have several different features there, so it can take up quite a bit of your day. I mean, I've easily spent maybe 2.5 hours there, but it's perfect if you want to hit that before lunch. And then there's a lot of local restaurants right there that you can hit up for some lunch after. You can even pack your lunch to go there because they don't check your bags or allow no outside food in. You can bring lunch, which is so nice of them. And there's plenty of picnic areas where you can just truly like sit in nature and enjoy yourself while you're there. So we always like to either like grab Chick-fil-A on our way in, or I'll pack, a big snack box for everybody, like a miniature, kids charcuterie board, something like that, like my version of a Lunchable for the kids. And we just make a day of it. So if you're anything like me and you've had those days where you're like, what am I supposed to do with my kids today? You've already done the park, you've already done Target, you just need something that like gets you out of the house but doesn't feel so chaotic and crazy. This is why I wanted to talk to you about Atlanta Botanical Gardens today. And before you think like Atlanta Botanical Gardens with kids, like, are you sure? Like, it's a garden place, it's supposed to be beautiful, my kids touch everything and they shouldn't while we're there, then don't worry about it. Like, I kid you not, when everyone there is so friendly, But not only that, like when you go into the children's garden, they want you to touch the plants. They want the kids to explore. They want, the kids to learn about all these different plants that they're growing, and they have a lot of different activities for kids too. So let's go ahead and dive into that real quick. I put together a list for you of all the different kid-friendly activities that they have there. So when you first walk in, there is several different directions you can go. And if you go over to the left first and you make your way to the children's garden has a lot of different stuff. So let me pull up my list for you. So in the children's garden, there's a splash pad, there's a playground with a climbing structure, a tree house, a vegetable garden that has like hands-on learning. They do garden playtime over there, weekly sensory stations over there, a nature-themed activity for ages like 6 months to 5 years old. They also do storybook time over in the children's garden. It's a nature-based story, interactive like story tales in the children's garden. And then let's see, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my list, but this is the whole point of a mom podcast, because I am prepared to tell you all this information, but also I make notes because I am not remembering all of this off the top of my head, but I'm here to share the information with you. So we talked about the children's garden, the playtime with the sensory stations, the storybook time. Oh, and then Garden Grooves. So Garden Grooves is on Thursdays. It's music and dance, and they have the sweetest little music instructor that's there. She's just so nice. She brings scarves, she brings shakers, she brings maracas, she brings all kinds of different like bells and different instruments that the kids can dance to while she's instructing. So that happens, and I think it lasts about 45 minutes. They just started back up. All of these activities I should mention are from March through October. So March through October, different days of the week. Tuesdays are the garden playtime with the sensory activities, and then Wednesdays is the storybook time. Thursdays is the Garden Grooves, which is the dance and music class. And I think that they're all about 45 minutes and they start right on time. So you want to make sure that you get there right on time. I'm not going to say the time that they start. You'll have to double check me because they just started it back up. And last year it was at 10 o'clock. Don't hold me to that. Double check me. I believe it's the same. I should have probably quickly Google searched that for you, but you can totally check that out. And the times may differ on different days, but I just remember going to the Garden Grooves at 10 o'clock, and I just remember that they started right on time. So make sure you show up a little early, you plan for it, eat breakfast in the car if you have to, whatever you can to get out the door to make it there on time. And then they also have seasonal events, like the frog feedings are on Saturdays sometimes. They have scarecrows in the garden in the fall. And then, of course, they have the winter garden lights in the holiday season. So like in November and December and a little bit into January, they have the most beautiful garden lights display. Oh my gosh, it's totally worth it. It is separate from the membership, so keep that in mind. I will say about the garden lights that they do offer lower priced ticket entries on like Mondays and Tuesdays is what I found out. Of course, the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are going to be your most popular, busiest, like peak hour times. So those are going to be the most expensive. But if you try to hit like a Monday or Tuesday or after the holidays, like after Christmas time, you can find those cheaper days to go. We've always gone on like a Tuesday night. It's been great. My birthday and my daughter's birthday are both in December, so we kind of line it up with those events, and we just kind of make a night of it. We bundle up, and now I've got my son, so we put them both in a stroller, and it can be chilly, but also it's Georgia and the weather is unpredictable. So you may get those random beautiful nights where you don't even need a jacket in December. So a few other things I wanted to mention about Atlanta Botanical Gardens, like kids section. They have interactive learning, which is like a little science experiments where kids can learn about like planting and different activities. There's also scavenger hunts that are designed for the kids to explore the ecosystems. They also offer arts and crafts events a lot. We just went to an egg dyeing event that was from natural dyes from the garden. We did yellow, pink, and blue. The blue was blueberries, the yellow was turmeric, and then the pink was beets. So that was a really cool activity because it was Easter time and they had wooden eggs, and we showed up and you paid $5 for a little bucket of 3 eggs. So not only was it super low budget and cost friendly, it was a really great activity. I mean, it kept my toddlers busy for almost an hour and a half, and they got to decorate the eggs. So that's just one of the arts and crafts events that they offer. But they also have educational tours. So if you've got a little bit older kids and you really want to like take them on like a homeschooling journey or anything like that, they do have educational tours also. And then the sensory experiences, we already talked about this, but there's like the there's like the edible garden. So there's another part of botanical gardens called the edible garden, and that's also really cool if you're homeschooling, to check that out. It's beautiful. I mean, just how they can grow all of these fruit and vegetables is mind-blowing to me. I mean, you've got to check out their apple trees are literally growing on the side of the wall upward like they are only 2D almost. It's crazy. And then they've got tons of grapes. They've got like carrots and beets and blueberry bushes and strawberries and squash and turnips and all of the herbs you can think of. Like they literally have everything. It's so inspiring if you're a gardener like me, just to walk through and be like, wow, okay, this this is a dream garden right here. But that's why it's, one of Atlanta's favorites, one of like the world's favorites botanical gardens, because they put so much heart into this, and most of the people that like help out there are all volunteers. So these are people who love gardening and come and volunteer there. So that is something to check out. They also have a really cool like play kitchen at the end of the um edible garden, so check that out. And then that brings me to like the other stuff that they offer there. So I have another list for you of like the themed events that go on. The spring events that are happening, there's Twilight in the Garden, which I have not been to, but sounds beautiful. And it looks like, let me double check my notes. That's on Thursdays, March through April. So it says on here, you get to enjoy the spring blooms after hours. So that's one of the spring events. Now in the summertime, I cannot wait to check this event out. In June, they are going to have an evening celebrating the the summer solstice featuring live music, face painting, and glowing lanterns. That sounds super cool. Like, I gotta find out the exact date in June when that's gonna be, because I wanna go check that out, especially in the evening time. Like, the nights are getting longer, the sun is staying out way later. Like, I don't think the sun sets over summer till like 8:30 or 9 o'clock, which is beautiful and great, but also super hard when you have bedtime at like 7 and 7:30. So blackout curtains are very helpful. Right now, they just started getting ready for their Alice in Wonderland um, theme. So in May, they start the Alice in Wonderland. So they just finished the tulips. I should have mentioned that. Tulips were in full bloom all over the big green space right in the middle, um, which is like their big green lawn. So the tulips are all dug up and all gone now. They're done. So now they're bringing in all of the Alice in Wonderland features, and it's really cool because it's like an installation of different characters from Alice in Wonderland. Like Alice herself is spinning in their main fountain right next to the big open green space where the lawn is. And she's spinning right there, and she'll be covered in flowers and she'll be beautiful. And then after you go through where the frogs are and the tropical rainforest, which is their building right next to the big open lawn space, you'll find another area of the garden where you will see all of the Red Queen characters. So the Red Queen and all of her cards, like, her Queen of Hearts, all of the things. And then the rabbit also is over there. So it's really cool to check out. Like Alice and all of her movie characters are all over there. And then in the fall, I want to talk about like the scarecrows in the garden. It's really cute. They dress up like they dress up different fake scarecrows, of course, everywhere. And the scarecrows are all dressed in different themes for all around the garden, like different areas of the garden just have scarecrows all over. It's really cool. It's a fun like October event to do. And then also in October on Thursday nights, they do like craft beer and live music. So that's something really cool to look forward to because you can bring your kids too. So like they're outside and playing, and every kid loves to be outside. That's when they're happiest. So why not go over to the botanical gardens, listen to some live music, grab some beer, hang out, let your kids run around before bedtime. It's the perfect combination. And then in the winter, we talked about this a little bit, but they have the garden lights. So the holiday lights that come are November through January, and they literally like transform the whole garden with millions of lights everywhere. It's literally, you guys, I cannot explain this. It's so beautiful. They were even featured and they won, spoiler alert, they were featured and they won on the Christmas show that comes around every year, the Great Christmas Light Fight. If you haven't seen that show, it's really fun to check out. Every year they go to different houses and different neighborhoods and different like big companies like Atlanta Botanical Gardens and big farms, and they look at all the Christmas lights, and it's a contest to see who has the best lights. Well, Atlanta Botanical Gardens won on their episode, so that just speaks for itself how beautiful the lights are. So like I said, that's separate from the membership, but you do get a discount on the tickets, and I think it's like $5 off maybe 6. It was something like that last year. And like I said, you can find cheaper tickets on Mondays and Tuesdays because those are not their peak hours and their peak times. Weekends are going to be more expensive, so you can always like plan ahead and budget for that. And then let's see, what else are we going to talk about? So then there's also, if you get the membership, you can go to their Gainesville campus. So there's another botanical gardens that I haven't actually been to myself. I hope to check that out soon. But if you have the membership, you can check out both locations because the membership is good for both of the gardens. So they also did a Valentine's Day event this past February. And then let's see, what else did I want to talk about? So let's circle back to the whole reason why I'm doing this podcast. Like, this is supposed to be for moms. So for moms, taking your kids to the botanical gardens, when you go into the children's garden, you're going to see a splash pad over to your left. So be prepared for that. It's not open as of now. This is the first week of February. I'm sure it will open towards the end of May, just like, pool season when the pools open. But follow me on Instagram and I will let you know if it does open sooner than that. And then, so in the children's garden, you've got the splash pad, and then they have an interactive painting wall with water, like water painting wall with the most beautiful like tiles that they can paint on. And then the water evaporates and then you get to paint all over again. And they have like this water feature that is like a big puddle right in front of it with all the paintbrushes, and my daughter will literally spend 20 minutes of our time over there either playing in the water or drawing on the wall or collecting all the paintbrushes so nobody else has a paintbrush, which is always fun. Not. Anyways, so they have that, and then they have this like little amphitheater over there it's a small little amphitheater, but they have like stand seating and then like a little stage where they do story time. I think once before they had like an interactive like garden activity over there. And then we've also been to different events where the children actually get to participate in the rotation of the crops. So that is really cool. I haven't seen any advertisements for that, but I do know one time when we were there, my daughter Lacey got to participate in watering all the crops. So they had like all these little buckets out, and they taught kids how to like properly water the plants and not overwater them. And then also when we were there another time, she got to actually like participate in pulling up the carrots from the ground. So to like see that, you see carrots in the grocery store, of course, but like to actually have your hands on something that you can't do at home was just like mind blowing to her, and a really cool experience for me too, because I cannot offer that to her because I don't grow carrots at home. I don't grow squash at home. You might try, but they have this beautiful garden there and this experience you can check out. And then like as you're walking through the garden, I'm going to have a whole video on the children's garden tomorrow after this podcast airs on my Instagram, where you can check it out. But as you're walking through the garden, there's a bunch of different like cool pathways you can take, like a little rope bridge that the kids can cross. And then there's like a snake that slithers up and down these mountains, these little hills that kids love climbing on as they're walking through the garden. And then you get a little bit further back, and there is an area that has these building blocks, so kids can literally build their own little like cottages or tree houses or whatever they want, robots, all different things. But there's tons of like building blocks right there. And then if you keep walking back, they have a waterfall feature. And then at the very end of the children's garden is the playground. The playground has two, I want to say three, but I think it's just two different tree houses the kids can climb up and explore through. And then they have this really cool big slide right in the front also. So that's a little bit about the children's garden. Some days we just literally enter and we go straight for the children's garden. We don't even check out the rest of it because there's a lot to check out there. I would like section it off if I were you, if you got the membership, and pick different things to check out each time you go. It also gives you something to look forward to, like the Lady of the Garden. They have this big, beautiful, like Mother Nature, I wouldn't say sculpture, but this big, beautiful Mother Nature sculpture that they put plants all over. And she is just so beautiful. And she's like in full bloom, I would say at the beginning of June, like May. Right now, she has no plants on her, and it's the beginning of April. But in May, they slowly start planting inside of her, like all over her. Like think about the hair on your scalp and all of the tiny little holes your actual individual hair grows out of. That's exactly what they're doing, but they are covering her hair features, her face features, her arms. I mean, it just looks literally like from Moana, if you guys have seen that movie, Tafiti, when she like turns back all green. That's what this looks like if you need a reference in your head, because maybe I'm not explaining it that well, but that's what it looks like, and it's so beautiful. So mid-May, end of May, like beginning of June for sure, over summertime for sure, she is in full bloom, and it's so beautiful. So she is like over to the right after you go across this beautiful big giant canopy walk bridge. The bridge is 600 feet long, and it like weaves through the forest that they have. And oh my gosh, guys, it's just such a pretty walk. Like sometimes we just go and check her out and hang out over there and just enjoy the nature, and then we go like maybe to the restaurant. They do have a restaurant at Botanical Gardens. I've only eaten there one time, but there's little snack shops along the way, and then they also have like banquet halls where they host a lot of their events, and then of course like big business meetings and stuff people rent it out for. I've seen weddings, of course. It's a wedding venue place. So is the membership worth it or not? Oh, yes. Adult passes are $29.95, so it's actually $30 for an adult. And then kids 2 and under are free. Children ages 3 to 12 are $26.95. And then if you buy it online, those prices are $2 cheaper each. So if you buy in advance online, you get $2 off. And then the weekends, that was for weekday, for Tuesday through Friday. And then the weekends, Saturday and Sundays, it's actually $34.95. So you've got $30 on the weekday and $35 on the weekend. And then I just bought a membership, and I did buy a little bit more of a expensive one, but even my more expensive one, I'll be honest, was $160. That gave me 4 guest passes, 2 adults, and I only used my name on the guest pass, so my second adult is, like, open to anybody, like, kind of like a nanny pass, so I can bring a friend with me and get them in without having to use my 4 guest passes. To me, like, if you and your friend went, that's already $60, and then if you've got kids older than 3, which a lot of my friends do now, our kids are getting older, you're spending $60 each already, so you might as well, like, find a friend and split a membership, or if you go 3 times, I mean, to me, it's totally worth it. You get these 4 guest passes. I have a lot of family that's here, and honestly, we go all the time. So we go way more than 3 times. So that's something for you to like honestly, think about it in your head. It's a great another friend of mine, she said it was a great Christmas gift because she asked for like memberships to things, experiences from her family. So, and that was the more expensive one. You do not have to do that $160 one. Like you could totally do the cheaper, lower ones. That was a bigger package that I signed up for. So take a look at their packages, see what's right for you. Are you going to go more than once? Do you have these older kids? So it's definitely a more expensive outing. But if you got the membership and all the things that they offer there, I just think it's totally worth it. So I wanted to talk to you today on an episode about botanical gardens, and I'm just going to reference my notes one more time, make sure I covered everything for you guys. Like I said, with the membership, you don't feel rushed. You don't feel like you have to do everything in one day, especially if you have young kids. Someone might have a meltdown, someone might have a blowout. We left the other day because my daughter had an accident on the playground and I did not bring extra clothes for her. We got to go. Like you can't stick around with, messy pants. So we had to leave, but it's no big deal because we can come back another day because we have the membership. On top of all of that, like the parking is wonderful. Like it's right across, the walkway right there. So they have great parking. And what's really cool feature in their parking deck is like they have these little green lights above the parking spots. So if it's a green light, then that parking spot is open. If it's a red light, then obviously there's a car right there. So you can kind of look down the aisle and see like where to park without driving all around the parking deck. And then on top of that, like you're right next to Piedmont Park. Piedmont Park connects to Atlanta Botanical Gardens. So not only can you see the beautiful city skyline from Botanical Gardens, you can also see Piedmont Park, and that's out past like where the Alice in Wonderland setup is at. So you can make a full day out of it. You can head over there. You can walk over to the playground from there. You can keep your car parked there and go check out Piedmont Park and walk around because you're already paying for parking there. So why move your car? Yeah, so it's already like a win-win-win all across the board. There's tons of local restaurants around there. There's like a Philly cheesesteak place right around the corner. There's pizza right around the corner. There's a couple of bar food like places around the corner. There is like breakfast spots if you wanted to get breakfast before you went. There's breakfast right there. There's just a ton of food nearby. So on top of everything else, if you got nothing from this episode, it's something fun to do with your kids, even if you just go one time. Make a day out of it. It's totally something if you have out of town guests to take them to. It's really cool to check out, in my opinion. And I feel like when I go there, everything is just so calm because you're outside, the kids are running around, and it's never been too crowded where I couldn't like see my kids running ahead of me, which always makes me feel like secure and good. Like I don't have to keep them right by my hip the whole time. The kids are happy because they're outside. It's less stressful because everyone's outside and you're not crammed into like one tiny space or overwhelming because it's too loud. Everything is so peaceful. So I'm so glad I got to do this episode with you guys. Check it out. If you've been there before, let me know, like, what's your favorite part about Atlanta Botanical Gardens? And have you been to the restaurant? Because I only got to try it one time and it was a little bit of like a in and out kind of thing. So let me know what you like at the restaurant. Have you been to any of these garden grooves or these plant classes where you learn about different types of plants? Have you been to like the garden participation activities? Have you done the splash pad? All of these things, let me know. I'd love to hear from you on social media. And then please follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And if you are local to our area, please share with your friends, tell somebody else about this. And if you're a mom entrepreneur, send me a message. Let me know if what you're doing aligns with what I'm trying to do here. If you feel like your business applies to the motherhood community, then let me know. Like, I'm looking for doulas to have conversations with. I'm looking for like postpartum, support. I'm looking for like mental health reset, support. And just like honest mom conversation. I feel like today's episode was totally necessary and needed to talk about. Another thing for you to do with your kids. So thank you so much for listening. And like I said, this is my real life motherhood. So you can find me on TikTok and Instagram doing like everyday mom stuff, sharing local events and what's happening. Like this weekend, the Tucker Green Space, they're going to be doing live music. So I'm hoping to check that out. The Dogwood Festival is going on downtown in Atlanta at Piedmont Park. All of these really cool things I can't wait to share with you. Each week I've been sharing what's going on the weekend in a full list so you can see in your area and the local surrounding areas, Norcross, Lilburn, Decatur, Stone Mountain, Tucker, all of the areas. You can check out what's going on. And if you have something to share with me, let me know. So I really appreciate you guys listening. Tune in for the next couple of episodes. I hope to talk to someone who her business is all about camps. So if you haven't found your camp yet for your kids this summer, her whole business is like combining all the camps that everything is Atlanta offers all into one place, so that you don't have to search across all different types of platforms, all different companies. You have all the camps and what they offer right there in one place. So that's really cool. I can't wait to chat with her about that. And then Little Atlanta is going to come on the podcast too. She's a new friend of mine. Her name is Rachel. I'm looking forward to interviewing her. She shares local mom meetups. So she's been on the hunt for different events and different community building activities that she can bring moms together. Like she brought us all together at Hippo Hop. She's bringing us all together at the Bunny Hive. She's also got some other things in the works. So I'm looking forward to having her on, doing some real motherhood conversations. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. I feel like I'm rambling at this point, but this is it. This is my podcast. So I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. So from one Tuckered Mama to another. See you guys.